You know what I've learned after watching thousands of people retire? The ones who struggle aren't the ones who didn't save enough. They're the ones who are sitting on a fortune but can't access it. Their wealth is locked up, trapped in things that cost money instead of making money. And the ones who thrive in retirement, they did something smart before they stopped working. They sold. They converted stuff into cash flow. They turned dead assets into living income. Today, I want to talk about 5 things you should seriously consider selling before you retire. Not because I want you to have less, but because I want you to have more freedom, more income, more peace of mind. These aren't easy decisions. Some of them will feel wrong. But after 94 years on this earth and watching countless retirements, I can tell you this: the people who make these moves almost never regret it. So let me walk you through each one. And I'll tell you exactly why it matters. Here's something most people don't understand about retirement. It's not about how much you have, it's about how much you can access, how much generates income, how much gives you options. I've met people worth $3 million on paper who can't afford to retire. Why? Because that $3 million is tied up in a house they can't sell, a business they can't leave, cars they barely drive, and possessions that drain money every month. And I've met people with $800,000 who retired comfortably because that $800,000 was invested properly, generating income, working for them instead of against them. The difference isn't the amount, it's the structure. And that's what we're going to fix today. Let me start with the hardest one: your house, the one you've lived in for 20, 30, maybe 40 years, where you raised your kids, where you have all those memories. I'm not going to tell you that you have to sell it, but I am going to ask you to think about it honestly. How many bedrooms does it have? 4? 5? And how many people live there now? Probably just you and your spouse, maybe just you. So you're maintaining 3 or 4 empty bedrooms, paying to heat them, cool them, clean them, insure them, just so they're ready when the grandkids visit twice a year. Here's what that's costing you. Let's say you have a 3,500 square foot house. Property taxes might be $8,000 a year. Insurance another $2,000. Utilities, maintenance, repairs, maybe $12,000 to $15,000 annually. You're spending $25,000 a year minimum on a house that's mostly empty. Now, what if you downsized? Sold that big house for $600,000, bought a nice 1,800 square foot place for $350,000. Suddenly you have $250,000 in cash, money you can invest. At a 4% withdrawal rate, that's $10,000 per year in additional retirement income every year for the rest of your life. Plus, your ongoing expenses drop. Smaller house means maybe $4,000 in property taxes instead of $8,000, $1,000 in insurance instead of $2,000. Utilities and maintenance cut in half. You're saving $12,000 to $15,000 every year. So between the freed capital and the reduced expenses, downsizing could put $22,000 to $25,000 per year back in your pocket. That's not small money. For a lot of retirees, that's the difference between making it work and struggling. But I hear the objections. What about when the family visits? Rent a bigger place for those 2 weeks. It'll cost you maybe $3,000. You're still ahead $20,000 for the year. But this is my home. I can't leave. I understand that. I really do. But let me ask you something. What do you value more? The house or your retirement security? The empty bedrooms or the ability to travel, help your grandkids with college, not worry about money every month? I'm not saying the answer is always to sell, but I am saying you need to run the numbers. You need to be honest about what that house is costing you, because I've seen too many people house rich and cash poor, and it's a terrible way to spend retirement. This one should be easier. Let me ask you a question. How many cars do you own? If you said more than 2, we need to talk. I see retirees with 3, 4, sometimes 5 vehicles. The daily driver, the truck for hauling stuff, the convertible for nice days, the SUV for road trips, maybe a classic car in the garage, each one sitting there, depreciating, costing money. Even if they're paid off, they're not free. Every vehicle costs you registration, insurance, storage, and maintenance. Let's say you have 4 cars. That's probably $6,000 to $8,000 per year just keeping them registered and insured, not driving them, just owning them. And here's what kills me. Most of those cars barely get used. The truck gets driven twice a year when you need to haul something. The convertible comes out a few times in summer. The classic car sits under a cover. Meanwhile, that's $60,000 to $80,000 of capital sitting in your driveway, losing value. Money that could be invested, money that could be generating income. Here's what I want you to do. Keep 1 car, maybe 2 if you both drive regularly. Sell everything else. Take that money and put it to work. Let's say you sell 2 vehicles for $40,000 total. Invest that at 4%, that's $1,600 per year in income. Plus you save $3,000 to $4,000 per year in insurance and registration. That's $5,000 per year you just freed up by getting rid of cars you barely use. Now what if you need a truck once in a while? Rent one. It'll cost you $50 for the day. You can rent a truck 60 times a year and still come out ahead. I've driven the same car for years. It gets me where I need to go. That's all a car needs to do. Everything else is just expense pretending to be an asset. Here's one that people really struggle with. The lake cabin, the mountain condo, the beach house. It's been in the family forever. Everyone loves it. But be honest with me. How many weeks per year do you actually use it? Most people I talk to use their vacation property maybe 3 to 6 weeks annually. The rest of the time it sits empty, but you're still paying for it every single month. Vacation homes are expensive. Property taxes, insurance, HOA fees if it's a condo, utilities even when you're not there, maintenance, repairs. I've seen vacation properties cost $15,000 to $25,000 per year easy. So let's do the math. If you use it 5 weeks a year, that's 35 days. You're paying $15,000 to $25,000 for 35 days of use. That's $430 to $715 per day. For that money, you could rent a luxury vacation home anywhere in the world. Different place every time. No maintenance, no property taxes, no worries. But here's the bigger issue. That vacation property is worth money. Real money, maybe $400,000, maybe more. And that money's just sitting there, not working, not generating income, locked up. If you sold it, invested that $400,000 at a 4% withdrawal rate, you'd have $16,000 per year to spend on vacations. You could rent amazing places for 6 weeks a year and still have money left over. Plus, you'd have flexibility. 1 year the mountains, next year the beach, the year after, Europe. You're not stuck going to the same place every year just because you own it. I know what you're thinking. But the kids love that place. We have so many memories there. I get it. But those memories don't disappear when you sell the property. They're in your heart, not in the building. And here's what nobody talks about. As you get older, maintaining that vacation property becomes harder. Eventually, it becomes a burden. You're paying for something you can't fully enjoy anymore. Better to sell it now while it's still worth good money, while you can still travel and enjoy different places. Take the cash, invest it, and create new memories wherever you want. This one is critical, and a lot of people don't want to hear it. If you worked for a company for 20 or 30 years, you probably accumulated stock in that company. Maybe through an employee stock purchase plan, maybe through retirement contributions. Maybe it was part of your compensation, and over the years that stock probably did well. Maybe it's worth a lot now. Maybe it's your biggest holding. Here's the problem. You're retired now, or about to be. You can't afford to have 30%, 40%, 50% of your net worth in a single company. That's not smart. That's not safe. That's dangerous. I don't care how great the company is. I don't care if you worked there your whole life and you believe in them. Concentrating that much wealth in one stock is a massive risk. What if something happens to that company? What if the industry changes? What if there's a scandal, a bad quarter, a shift in technology? That stock could drop 30%, 40%, 50%. And if that's most of your retirement savings, you're in serious trouble. I've watched this happen. People who worked for Enron had most of their retirement in Enron stock, gone. People who worked for General Electric thought it was the safest company in the world. The stock went from $60 to $6. People who retired from Sears, Kodak, Circuit City, they lost everything because they were concentrated in one stock. Even if your company's doing great today, things change. And in retirement, you can't afford that risk. So here's what you need to do. Look at your portfolio. If any single stock is more than 10% of your total, you need to sell some. Get it down to 5% or less. Diversify into broad index funds. Spread the risk across hundreds or thousands of companies. Yes, you'll probably have to pay capital gains tax, but that's okay. It's worth it for the safety. Don't let the tax tail wag the investment dog. And if you have stock in the company you used to work for, especially if it's not performing well anymore, sell all of it. Don't hold on out of loyalty or nostalgia. Your loyalty should be to your retirement security, not to a corporation. I built my fortune through individual stocks. I know how to analyze companies. I know how to pick winners. But even I diversify. Even I don't put 30% of my net worth in one company. Because I understand risk. In retirement, you need safety more than you need growth. You need to know your money will be there when you need it. And concentration is the opposite of safety. If you own a business and you're approaching retirement, we need to have a serious conversation. Running a business is hard. It's stressful. It takes constant attention, constant energy, constant problem solving. When you were younger, maybe you thrived on that. But at some point, it stops being energizing and starts being exhausting. I see business owners in their late 60s, early 70s who desperately want to retire but can't let go. They built this business. It's their identity. It's their baby. So they keep working even though they're tired, even though it's affecting their health. Here's what I want you to understand. Your business is an asset, probably your biggest asset. And if you want to retire, you need to convert that asset into retirement income. You basically have three options. 1, sell the business outright, get a lump sum, invest it, live off the returns. 2, find a buyer who will pay you over time. Seller financing, you get a steady income stream for years. 3, hire someone to run it and pay yourself a salary plus profits. But only if you can truly step back. What you can't do is keep grinding away, hoping you'll know when it's time to stop. Because here's what happens. You wait too long. Your health forces you out, or the business declines because you don't have the energy to keep it going. And then when you finally try to sell, you get a fraction of what it's worth. But if you plan ahead, if you sell when the business is strong and you're still engaged, you can get top dollar. You can maximize the value, and then you take that money and invest it properly. Let me give you an example. I know a man who owned a small manufacturing business. He was 68 years old. The business was worth about $2 million. He was tired, wanted to retire, but he kept putting it off. Finally, at 72, he had a health scare, realized he couldn't keep going. By then, the business had declined a bit. He sold it for $1.4 million. If he'd sold at 68, he would have gotten the full $2 million. That delay cost him $600,000. Don't let that be you. If retirement is your goal, start planning your exit now. Talk to business brokers, get valuations, understand your options, and when the time is right, sell. Use that money to fund your retirement. Because running a business in your 70s when you don't want to, that's not retirement, that's a prison. Now, I haven't sold Berkshire Hathaway. But that's because I genuinely love what I do. I'm not looking to retire. But if I were, I'd have a clear succession plan. I'd transition out. I wouldn't cling to control. If you own a business and you want to retire, the business has to go. One way or another, plan for it, prepare for it. And when the time comes, let go. So those are the 5 things: the oversized house, the extra vehicles, the vacation property, the concentrated stock position, the business you're running. What do they all have in common? They tie up capital, they create expenses, they demand attention and maintenance. And in retirement, that's exactly what you don't need. See, retirement isn't about accumulating more. You spent 40 years accumulating. Retirement is about converting what you have into freedom, into income, into simplicity. Every one of these 5 things, they're wealth on paper. But they're not working for you. They're working against you, draining cash, creating stress, limiting your options. But if you sell them, if you convert them into invested capital, suddenly everything changes. Your income goes up, your expenses go down, your life gets simpler, and you actually have the freedom to enjoy retirement. Let me show you what this looks like in real numbers. Say you downsize your house and free up $250,000. You sell 2 extra cars for $45,000. You sell your vacation condo for $400,000. You diversify your concentrated stock position and free up another $150,000 in cash. You sell your business for $1.2 million. That's over $2 million in newly available capital. Money that was locked up, money that wasn't generating income, money you couldn't access. Now you invested at a 4% withdrawal rate. That's $80,000 per year in retirement income you didn't have before, plus your ongoing expenses drop. No big house to maintain, no insurance on extra cars, no property taxes on the vacation home, no stress from running the business. Maybe you save $30,000 per year in expenses. Your financial situation just improved by over $100,000 per year. And your life got simpler, less to manage, less to worry about, more freedom to do what you actually want. That's the power of selling before you retire. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Warren, if I sell all this stuff, I'm giving up my lifestyle. No, you're changing your lifestyle, and probably for the better. Having a big house isn't a lifestyle. It's an expense. Having 4 cars isn't wealth. It's waste. Owning a vacation home you use 3 weeks a year isn't luxury. It's inefficiency. Real wealth in retirement is having options, being able to travel when you want, help your kids or grandkids without stress, not worry about money every month, sleep well at night knowing you're financially secure. That's what selling these things gives you, not less, more. Others are thinking, but what about taxes? I'll have to pay capital gains. Yes, probably, maybe 15%, maybe 20%, but think about what you're getting in return. Liquidity, income, simplification, security. Don't avoid a smart financial move just because there's a tax. Pay the tax. Make the move. You'll be better off. And here's the thing about capital gains taxes. They mean you made money, the asset appreciated. That's good. Don't complain about paying taxes on gains. It means you won. One more important point. When should you do this? Before you retire, not after. If you wait until after you stop working, you might be desperate. You might need the money immediately, and desperation leads to bad prices. But if you plan ahead, if you start selling these things 1 or 2 years before retirement, you can be strategic. You can wait for good offers. You can time it right. Plus, selling takes time. Houses can take months. Businesses can take a year or more. Start early. The worst thing you can do is wake up on your first day of retirement and realize you can't afford it because all your money is locked up. Don't let that happen. This is crucial. When you sell these things, that money has to go to work. Don't spend it on a boat or a world cruise or a fancy car. I mean, maybe a small trip to celebrate. But most of that money needs to be invested. Index funds, dividend stocks, bonds, whatever your retirement strategy is. The goal is to convert stuff into income-producing assets. That's how you turn possessions into freedom. You're not selling to spend, you're selling to invest, to generate cash flow, to build security. You know, I've been very fortunate in my life. I've built substantial wealth, but I've never let possessions control me. I still live in the same house I bought in 1958. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated. That simplicity has given me freedom. Freedom to focus on what I love, what matters, not on maintaining things. That's what I want for you in retirement, not to have less, but to be free. So don't be afraid to sell. Don't hold on to things just because you've always had them. Don't let attachment to stuff rob you of a great retirement. These 5 things, the house, the cars, the vacation property, the concentrated stocks, the business, they served their purpose. They were right for the working years. But retirement is different. Retirement requires a different approach. Be willing to let go, simplify, convert assets into income, and enjoy the freedom that comes from it. I promise you, 5 years into retirement, you won't miss the big house or the extra cars or the vacation property you barely used. But you will appreciate the extra income, the reduced stress, the freedom to do what you want. That's real wealth, not what you own, but what you're free to do. Thank you for your time today. I hope this gives you something to think about. These decisions aren't easy, but they might be the smartest financial moves you ever make. Good luck out there. And remember, in retirement, less is often more. Sell the excess, keep what matters, and enjoy your freedom.